True confidence is never loud, boastful, or desperate to be noticed. It's the quiet assurance of a man who knows his worth, and that worth is reflected not in how much he takes, but in how much he gives, You see, a man who gives generously of his time, his attention, his patience, is telling the world, I have enough within me. I don't need to prove myself by taking. I prove myself by giving. There is something deeply attractive about that. It's the way he will open the door without expecting a thank you, or the way he'll notice that you're tired and take something off your plate without making a grand announcement about it. That kind of generosity isn't for show, it's an extension of who he is. And when a woman encounters such a man, she feels it instantly. This is someone who is grounded, secure, and anchored in himself. Because only a man who is truly confident in who he is can afford to put someone else's happiness before his own without feeling like he's losing anything. In fact, he gains something far greater: the joy of knowing that he has the power to make her feel safe, appreciated, and deeply cared for. It's in those small, selfless acts that his strength becomes undeniable, and his presence becomes unforgettable, Intimacy is not defined by physical closeness alone. It's about the connection that happens when two souls meet and truly seek each other. A man who understands this knows that the most powerful intimacy is built in moments that require no performance, no pretense, just presence. It's the way he listens when she speaks, not just hearing her words, but feeling the emotions behind them. It's in the soft pauses between conversations, where silence becomes a language of its own, carrying the weight of trust and comfort. Intimacy is when he remembers how she likes her coffee without asking, or when he senses she's overwhelmed and simply reaches for her hand without saying a word. These are the moments that etch themselves into her heart, moments that cannot be faked or forced. When a man can be fully present, eyes meeting hers, mind quiet, heart open, he creates a space where she can unfold her truest self without fear of judgment. And that, more than any grand gesture, is what keeps her coming back. Because in that space, she feels not just loved, but known. The power of attentiveness is often underestimated, yet it is one of the rarest and most magnetic qualities a man can possess. It's not simply about watching or observing. It's about truly noticing, catching the unspoken signals that others miss. It's seeing the way her eyes light up when she talks about something she loves and remembering to bring it up weeks later just to see that light again. It's noticing the subtle change in her tone when she's holding something back and gently creating space for her to open up. Attentiveness is the art of reading between the lines, of hearing the words she doesn't say, and understanding the emotions she doesn't voice. It's the way he picks up on her favorite song playing faintly in a cafe and smiles, knowing it will mean something to her later when he surprises her with a tea or when he surprises her with a spray. This kind of awareness tells her she matters, that she's not just a background presence in his life, but a priority. And when a woman feels truly seen, not just looked at, but understood, her guard comes down, her trust deepens, and her connection to him becomes unshakable. In a world where most people are too distracted to notice the details, a man who is attentive stands out like a lighthouse in the dark, guiding her safely to a place where she feels valued and adored. Pleasure, in its truest form, is never one-sided. It flows in both directions like a tide that comes and goes, each wave feeding the next. A man who understands this doesn't give simply to be applauded or to collect some invisible debt. He gives because it brings him joy to see joy in her eyes. He knows that when he invests in her happiness, he's planting seeds that will bloom into trust, loyalty, and a love that runs deep. It's the way she relaxes in his presence because she feels secure, or how she becomes more open, playful, and alive when she knows she is cherished without condition. This mutual exchange creates a rhythm between them, a silent understanding that both are contributing to something beautiful. He doesn't just focus on his own satisfaction, he delights in hers because her fulfillment is part of his own. And in that selfless dance, attraction stops being about fleeting moments. It becomes a lasting connection that grows richer over time. The more joy he gives, the more joy he receives, until the line between giver and receiver disappears, leaving only a partnership rooted in genuine care and shared happiness. A man's true legacy is not measured in the possessions he leaves behind, but in the way he made people feel while he was here And for a woman, those feelings become the lasting imprint of his presence in her life. Long after the dinners are eaten, the gifts are tucked away, and the moments fade into the blur of passing years, she will remember the warmth in his eyes when he looked at her, the way his voice softened when she was vulnerable, and the unwavering way he stood by her when life became heavy. She will recall the laughter they shared until their sides ached, the quiet support he gave without needing recognition, and the sense of safety she felt just by being near him. These are the memories that do not fade, the ones she will speak about when his name comes up long after he's gone from her everyday world. A man who leaves this kind of mark is rare because he builds his legacy not on grand declarations, but on consistent, genuine acts of love. In doing so, he writes himself into her story in a way that time cannot erase, becoming not just a chapter in her life, but the thread that runs through her most cherished memories. And so, the truth is simple. The men who stand out, the men who remain unforgettable, are the ones who give without fear, who love without condition, and who see the happiness of the woman they care for as an extension of their own. They understand that strength is not in dominance, but in devotion, not in taking, but in giving. Such men don't need to compete for attention because their presence alone commands it. They don't chase love because love naturally gravitates toward them. And when you choose to be that kind of man, generous in spirit, attentive in heart, and committed to making her feel valued, you become more than just a partner. You become the standard she will measure all others against. In the end, it's not the moments you impress her that will matter most, but the moments you made her feel deeply, profoundly, and beautifully loved. That is the kind of legacy worth leaving.